Now students, the next question arises that why change in price, change in quantity demanded and price is measured in percentage. Measured in percentage. Why do not we measure the change in quantity demanded and change in price in the absolute figures? Why we are going to measure it in the percentage? Look, when we say that we are measuring the change in quantity demanded in absolute figures. Absolute figures means like take the quantity demanded and price of chairs. If the price of chair increases from 10 to 20, price of chair increases from 10 to 20, we can say that the quantity demanded of the chair decreases from 50 to 25. Okay, this is what we are measuring the absolute change. With the increase in 10 units, the decrease is in of 25 units. This is what we are saying absolute change. But this absolute change is of no use. When I say that due to 10% change, how much percent due to 10% change, or we can say it is how much change? It is 50% change. The demand has increased by 50%. And what's the change here? Here the quantity demanded has decreased by 50%. With the increase in the price by 50%, the demand increases by 50%, or we can say that is the unitary elastic demand. Then we know that if the prices go from 50 to 100, it means that if we are having the demand of 1000 goods, it would be reducing to 500. We can put the absolute figure, the percentages in any kind of demand. Let it be whatsoever demand. We cannot always talk about the demand of 10 and 20. So when we measure it in the absolute figures, it is difficult for us to measure it for all type of similar products. We can say that in all the furniture industry, the demand is unitary elastic. Unitary elastic means that with the increase in 50% of price, the demand will decrease by 50%. So that is why we are measuring it in percentage. In the absolute figures, when we are measuring it, it becomes difficult for us to calculate the actual change. It becomes difficult for us to apply to any other figure. We cannot apply. If the demand is more than elastic, we can say the change in demand is 3. So we know that with the increase in 1%, the change in the quantity demanded will be 3%. So that is why it is important to measure it in percentages. The other question is, why negative sign is prefixed? If I say why negative sign is prefixed, means that what we have done, minus percentage change in quantity demanded over percentage change in price. Now we have prefixed the sign, negative sign. What does this signify? It signifies that there is an inverse relationship between the price of the commodity and demand of the commodity. When the price will rise, the demand will fall down, and when the price will fall, the demand will rise. It's only here to show the negative relationship between the price and demand, nothing else. Because there is a negative relationship, so we are using the sign of minus. Otherwise, like in theory of supply, we would be having the positive relationship, then we would not be using this sign. So this is why the negative sign is used. Now we have to do how we could be measuring. What are the methods of measuring the elasticity of demand? Methods. We have only one method in our syllabus, that is known as percentage method, or we also say it as proportionate method. Proportionate method. When I say proportionate method, it means that elasticity of demand is measured at negative sign percentage change in QD over percentage change in price. So this is how we measure the percentage or the proportion of quantity demanded due to change in the price of the commodity. Further, but we say that percentage change in quantity demanded is Q1 minus Q upon Q into 100, and percentage change in price P1 minus P upon P into 100. Now, what is Q1 here? Q1 is the new demand and Q is initial demand. Initial demand, what was the demand? Initially what was being demanded. Okay. And P1 is new price and P is initial price. Initial price means that the initial level, earlier this was the price and this was the quantity demanded. Now due to the increase in price, this is the change in the quantity demanded. This is how we are denoting it. So how to find the percentage change in quantity demanded? Q1 minus Q upon Q into 100. It means that new demand minus initial demand divided by initial demand into 100. Okay. Now what will happen? Q1 minus Q could be written as delta Q upon Q. Here P1 minus P could be written as delta P over P. This into 100 and into 100 is cancelled. Fine. So how we would be moving further? Minus sign delta Q over Q. Okay, delta Q over Q. How we would be taking it up? P will be written up and delta P will be written down. So this is how, if we divide delta Q upon Q divided by delta P upon P. This is the equation of delta Q upon Q divided by delta P upon P. So if we have to put the multiply sign of multiply right over here, we have to do the reciprocal of this. Fine. So how we would be doing? How we would be driving the formula? Delta Q over delta P. We are just putting deltas together and P over Q. So this is the final formula to calculate the ED by proportionate method. But all these formulas are of equal importance. Okay. This is the final formula. But this formula, it is according to the question which formula you have to use. So in this chapter we would be having the numericals relating to the calculation of elasticity of demand. For doing those calculations we have to use these formulas. Mostly we are using this formula, but there is no straightway rule that we are using only this formula. This formula is also used. Sometimes we have to find the percentage change in quantity demanded, percentage change in prices given to us. So how we would be finding the percentage change in quantity demanded? Q1 minus Q upon Q into 100. If we are given percentage change in quantity demanded, we need to find the percentage change in price. How we would be finding? P1 minus P upon P into 100. So if we are given all these things, then we can go for directly, we can go for this formula. So we would be solving few questions with the help of the percentage method. Now let's do the factors affecting elasticity of demand. Students, we have already done the factors affecting demand. The factors affecting demand are different from the factors affecting elasticity of demand. Here, if we talk about elasticity of demand, our first factor is nature of commodity. What type of commodity we are going to purchase? Now the elasticity will depend upon it. If we are going to purchase the necessities, like we have to purchase the salt, we have to purchase the sugar, we have to purchase the matchboxes, okay, we have to purchase the seasonal vegetables. So they are having the inelastic demand. Whether the prices are high or prices are low, we have to use those products because those products are the necessities of our life. Necessities we cannot cut away from our life, like medicines are the necessities. If we talk about the luxuries like car, like AC, those are the luxuries. If we talk about the luxuries, then they are having the elastic demand. If the price of AC is more, we cannot be live with the cooler, we need not to purchase the AC, we can afford because it is a luxury. Similarly, if we cannot purchase the car, it's okay. When we would be having the money, we could be purchasing, or we could be waiting for the time when there are discounts on the cars. We would be waiting for the Diwali when we would be getting the bumper discounts, then we would be purchasing it. It means that we are having the elastic demand for the luxury goods. Jointly demanded goods, those goods which are jointly demanded, like bread and butter. So they are having the moderate degree of elasticity, not very high, not very low, because whosoever has to eat the bread, he would be buying the butter. So they are the jointly demanded goods which would be having the moderate elasticity of demand. If the price of butter goes up, the demand for the bread will come down, but not to that much extent. The elasticity will not be more, it would be the little elastic, or we can say less than elasticity. Less than elastic demand would be there. So if nature of commodity is asked, we would be answering it in 3 points. After that, availability of substitutes. If we are having the close substitutes available, then the demand would be more elastic. Like we can talk about the toothpaste, Pepsodent and Close-Up. If we are using the Pepsodent and the price of Pepsodent is suddenly increased, what we would be doing? We would be shifting our demand to Close-Up, because we know that these are the substitutes of each other. We can use it in place of each other. So when we are having the close substitutes, we can shift our demand, so demand would be more elastic. So demand of the Pepsodent has gone down. Similarly, if we do not have the substitutes, then we would be having either inelastic demand or less elastic demand. For example, we say we have to write in copies. We are having no substitute for copies. All the students need the fair notebooks for the answers to be written. So if the prices of notebooks goes up, what you will do? You cannot decrease the consumption of the copy. Similarly, pens, we do not have the close substitute for pen. If the price of pen, yes, we can shift to the ball pen or fountain pen, but we have to purchase that pen. Similarly, textbooks, if we are talking about the liquor, cigarettes, they are not having any close substitute for them, so their demand is inelastic or very less elastic. When third point is multiple uses, those commodities which are having multiple uses, as I have talked earlier when I was talking about more than elastic demand. So when we are having the multiple uses, like we had talked about the electricity. Electricity is having the multiple uses. If the electricity has become costlier, we would be reducing some uses. Like we had talked about the milk. Milk is having certain different uses. It could be used for making curd, for making kheer, for making paneer, for making ice cream and so on. So if the price of milk is lowered, we start using it for the other uses also. It means that it is having the high elasticity of demand. If we talk about the income level of the buyer, the high-end users or the high-level income groups, their elasticity is very low. They do not have the elastic demand because they are having too much income that they do not bother about the price. Whether the price is less or price is more, they will be purchasing that commodity. So for the high-end users or the high-level income groups, the elasticity of demand will be low. But for the lower level income groups or the middle level income groups, the elasticity of demand will be high. Why elasticity of demand will be high? Because their demand will be affected. If there is an increase in the price, they would be demanding less. If there is a decrease in the price, they would be demanding more. So this also depends on the income level of the buyer. Habit of the customer. If I say customer is habitual of having something, like we can talk about the liquor, the cigarettes, tobacco products. When the customer is having the habit of using those products, he is habitual, it means that it would be having the inelastic demand. Like for the liquor shops, whenever they are open, there is a huge demand for the liquor. The persons who have to drink liquor, they cannot live without it. So the price, they will not be affected by the price. Whatsoever the price would be there, they would be consuming the same level of that particular liquor. If someone is a chain smoker, so whatsoever price of cigarettes is there, he has to smoke. So he would be smoking. So that would be the inelastic demand. If I talk about the proportion of income spent on the commodity. Look students, there are certain commodities in our house where we spend a very little proportion. Like toothpaste, very little proportion if we are earning 50,000. So we are hardly spending 200, 300 on the toothpaste. We are hardly spending little amount on the matchboxes, little amount on the shampoo. So those commodities where the little proportion of income is spent, those commodities would be having less elastic or inelastic demand. We have to purchase the Colgate, we have to purchase the toothpaste, we are purchasing it. So there those in those products which are consuming very less proportion of our income, there the elasticity of demand will be zero or a very little elasticity of demand. So these are the factors which affect the elasticity of demand.